Time now to check in with Colin Coward. Hey, Colin, how are you? What's on the show?
Oh, Mike McCarthy. We always thought Aaron Rodgers was carrying him in Green Bay, right? The guy that looks like a Milwaukee cop. Except for now, there's a list today, and the people who bet for a living, who don't really have an agenda, say Mike McCarthy is actually a better coach than Pete Carroll, Doug Peterson, and right alongside Andy Reid. The balance maybe in Green Bay was always a little off on who was carrying who. That's coming up next.
Interesting, Colin. Thank you. After being suspended 5 times by the NFL, Josh Gordon is hoping the league will give him one more chance to play football. Gordon has submitted a letter asking to be reinstated, and according to his lawyer, Gordon was suspended because he relapsed after the death of his brother in November. So, Shannon, in your opinion, should he be reinstated?
Yes, I believe he should, but Colin, I know you don't believe that, what you just read, so I'm going to let you fill in that a little bit later. Skip, I believe he should. I think the thing is now, because the NFL, with the new CBA and the way they look at marijuana, Skip, marijuana does not have the same stigmatism that it had many, many years ago. There are states that you're allowed to buy it in small samples now, so it's not frowned upon. Now, we know Josh Gordon has these demons, and there are certain triggers that can cause these demons to come out. Now, his agent said he was dealing with the passing of his brother, and we understand that. Well, we don't excuse it, but we can understand that that's a very tough situation to find yourself in, that all of a sudden the sudden and tragic passing of your brother. And it triggers something in him, and he fell off. But I just hope Josh can just, get some resemblance of his life back. Because, Skip, at the end of the day, he's only going to play football if he were to get reinstated. Only a couple of more years. I like to think Josh Gordon has way more years of an adult life as a human being than he's ever going to spend in the NFL. And I just hope he can get that aspect resolved, and so he can live a nice, fruitful, productive life as a normal citizen, regardless of football. But I'm afraid, Skip, what's going to happen when football is taken away from him? And then Josh really needs to get this, because at some point in time, Skip, people are not going to keep making excuses for Josh. We've made excuse after excuse after excuse. And although this tragic passing of his brother is sad, it's tragic, people are not going to keep making excuses for why you keep finding yourself in this situation. Hopefully, prayerfully, this is the last time he finds himself in a very similar predicament.
Shannon, what has happened to Josh Gordon when football wasn't taken away from him? Nothing great. He's been given 20-second chances. If you look at his history of drug issues, it's so staggering that, to me, I've been around Josh. I like him a lot. He has so much potential as a man and a player, unrealized potential, that I always root for him to a fault, because at some point you have to just say no to Josh Gordon and quit enabling him to be recaptured by his demons. You just keep saying, okay, you're okay, we'll bring you back.
Right.
And we'll bring you back, and we'll bring you back. I want you to think about what this still young man has gone through. In many interviews that he's given, he said his drug issues started in middle school, and that was Xanax, codeine, OxyContin. I'm not talking about smoking a little pot.
Right.
We're getting into some hard drug areas, okay? And he got expelled from middle school twice. And then he goes to high school, and it's one issue after another with drugs, to where he finally gets expelled again. Then he gets busted, arrested for credit card fraud and abuse. And he was on probation in the state of Texas when he was being recruited by everybody, because
it's a phenomenal talent.
It's a phenomenal talent. And he had to choose a school within the state of Texas because his probation limited him to operating only in the state of Texas. So he goes to Baylor, and what happened? Nothing good happened. It was one drug suspension after another. Some of it was just pot related. Then he actually got busted, as he's talked about, at Baylor for selling pot. Okay, and then they finally just kick him out. As much talent as he displayed, Art Briles just said, that's enough, you're gone. And he signs with Utah, and he goes to Utah, and he said in a fairly recent interview, that's where he discovered cocaine, started using cocaine, failed a drug test at Utah, and never played a down in Salt Lake City. Okay? And then he goes in the supplemental draft to the Cleveland Browns, and what's that?
Flunked those tests too.
And he flunked, and he just keeps flunking drug tests. So now he's been suspended 7 times in the National Football League. And after a while, as much as I like the young man, as much as I root for him, I say, well, when do you finally say that's just enough?
Well, Skip, you have to fail several drug tests before you actually get suspended. So he failed more drug tests than he's actually been suspended, because at first they put you in the program, second they take game checks, then they actually suspend you. So you have to have 3 tests actually before you get suspended. Skip, and the thing is that I think, you know, one of our former colleagues, CC Chris Carter, and said, Josh, you need to get help. And he lashed out, wrote this lengthy, I don't have a problem. He was denying it, Skip. And I guess because he was embarrassed, because here's a guy that had an opportunity for generational wealth. Skip, that's the term that you hear a lot of, generational wealth. This dude he was Julio Jones before Julio.
He was.
That's what he could have been. And people, I don't know if people realize how good Josh Gordon was, but he threw it away.
What is he, like 6'3"?
6'3", 230. Run 4'4". And you see the way he's built? And people like, well, Shannon, let him smoke a little bud. Yeah, if you smoke all the bud you want, but not at the expense of $70, $80 million, who would give that up? If you would give up $80 million to smoke weed, you are a fool.
Unless you just got such problems that you have never had to address.
Yes, exactly. Because like you said, Skip, the NFL does keep enabling him.
Yeah.
They bring him back. You know, he got kicked out of Bayless, and Utah said, well, hey, he'll change. There ain't no drugs out here in Utah. You know, we're a dry state, Skip, so we good out here. And somehow, hey, supply and demand. He found it. And he has these issues that I don't know if Josh has really sat down and come to grips with how big. Skip, this is an ongoing problem. He's never going to live a day in which he doesn't have to beat these demons. Because, Skip, you can drive by the bar, you can drive by your homeboy house 50,000 times. But it's that 50,000 the first time that you go in.
I agree.
That it gets its hooks in you and brings you real you. And all the hard work, the 5 years, the 10 years that you've been dry, that you've been sober, all of a sudden comes crashing down. Skip, I just hope he can just get this resolved so he can have a normal life.
Yep.
That's what I really want most.
I believe this is a disease.
Oh, of course.
That he has fought his entire life from middle school on and never defeated, because nobody ever forced him to come to complete grips with it.
It's an incurable disease.
Yep.
But it can be treated.
It can be.
And that's the thing. Okay, in the treatment process, because Skip, here's the thing, you get cancer, you have to change the way you eat. You have to change the way you do certain things.
Yep.
So you get this disease. Okay, we can't cure it, but we can treat it. But you're gonna have to change certain behaviors to make sure you ensure yourself that you're not at risk, or you minimize the risk that you're in.
Yeah.
Man, I just
for the record, it's been 5 summers ago during one of his suspensions that Josh lived out here in Los Angeles and West Hollywood with Johnny Manziel for a whole summer in an apartment they shared.
Right.
And trust me, I heard all the stories, and they weren't just smoking pot, just for the record.
Nah.
This goes way deeper than just that.
Yeah, that pot, lead to other things. And I just hope he can just get it. It's sad, but we've seen far too many of these stories, Skip. We've seen too many stories that great players, athletes, it doesn't matter what. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Skip, we've seen entertainers. We've seen, musicians and artists. Man, that thing get his hands in you, man, and ooh.
Yep.
And he just, it's got to be day by day, bro.
Okay. So if you give him a 20th chance, second chance, you know what's going to happen. It'll happen again.
I'm not confident, Skip. I'm not confident he's going to do the right thing.
Yeah, even though now the new CBS says you can get away with a lot more just smoking pot. Right. Okay.
I just wish him the best, bro. I just hope he gets his life in order, Skip.
Yep.
Not about football. It's about life after football. Because what's Josh, in his early 30s?
Yep.
Young. Our show, we've always rooted for him, but we want him to be happy and well, and that is what we have to think about. That is it for Undisputed. Happy Juneteenth to everyone. The Herd is coming up right after us. Have a good weekend, guys.